Some of you guys, before I get started, some of you guys have been asking about this hoodie. It's the Bird Brain Podcast hoodie. You can copy yourself one. The link is in the bio. One of my favorite designs I've created. Yeah, it seems to be taking flight. You ever have one of those moments or situations where you say, well, why can't this person just do this? If they do this, then things would be much better. If they wanted to, they would. And I've had that process too in a lot of ways, but what I've come to understand is like, what moments have I not changed that somebody else may see as easy or pretty like thoughtless? Real change comes from real consequences. A lot of times there will not be any change. There could be a change in posture, but true change requires a change in pattern, a change in behavior, a change in thinking, moment to moment work, and is not easy. Expecting or demanding that someone else changes before we do because we don't feel like we have to is also us resisting change. It's important to also understand that there's a difference between acceptance and tolerance. Acceptance gives you choice. Acceptance means you see something for what it is, and you decide, does this align with me or does it not? You can decide to stay, you can decide to leave. Tolerance is staying in the same space, waiting for the other thing to change, whether it's an external situation or a person, until the point you start to develop resentment or bitterness towards that individual or situation. That's tolerance. Tolerance is you not changing, but also you hoping that the other person changes for you. And it has to be important enough for them, not for you, but important enough for them to change. Waiting on somebody else to change so you could be more comfortable is you resisting your own change. Because your chaos may be somebody else's comfort. Your problem may be somebody else's solution. Good, bad, or indifferent. There's some things you are refusing to change. That may be good. And then there are other things, habits that you have that you haven't changed, but you rationalize. Or you understand how hard it is for you mentally to do that change out of fear, whatever the case may be. But real change requires real consequence. And when you understand that concept, I think it's easier to understand somebody else's journey towards change or lack thereof. It's important to understand that everybody has a different threshold in terms of what they're willing to change for, or what's important enough for them to change. Imagine if we're all walking corporations, we're all entities, big businesses, and someone comes in and they apply for the job, or we go into somebody else's company and building and we apply for that job, and we realize that there's a certain required skill set that's needed to be hired here. Sometimes we overlook those things because, there are some qualities, but not all. And other times we just are not qualified for that job. So one or two things happen. Either we go back and we learn the skills that we need because this job is important enough for us to have. Like we want this enough. So we go back and learn what we need to, or we learn as we go. Or we just find the job that aligns with our skill set, or the person finds a job that's aligned with their skill set. I think that's important to realize as people, is that that's how we operate. It's not good or bad, it just is. Change requires a level of will, but also a level of action, but also a level of importance, which means a level of consequence that's important enough to the person that they will have to change. So as you go through life, don't only look at what somebody is not doing to suit your needs. Look at what you're not doing because you're waiting for somebody else to adjust who they are before you have to make adjustments, before you have to see someone for who they are and see things for what they are. Because that in itself is change. I think once you kind of accept things for what they are, you either let go or you lean in, and when you lean in, ask yourself, am I fully accepting what is, or am I leaning in because there's a hope that things are going to be different? Because if you lean in with the hope that things are going to be different, now you have tolerance. You don't have acceptance. And when you have tolerance, eventually tolerance becomes resentment. Okay? So, again, that was something I thought about this week because, when you take expectations off of change, or you understand that a lot of times us demanding change is also us demanding expectations, it creates a very painful and challenging narrative for yourself, but also the other person, instead of just accepting things for what is. You know, what's their skill set? What's my company? Do they align? If not, accept that. You know, it's important to not tolerate a worker that doesn't fulfill job description because they have potential. You know, and look at yourself again, humble yourself and understand what things in my life have I not changed because of my comfort zone, because of my fears, because of my doubts, because of my aversion, because of my past experiences. What things have I resisted change, and what things do I still continue to do the same, or what ways do I continue to think the same that I refuse to change? Or not that I refuse to change, but I'm not ready to change just yet. Or I have difficulty changing. Understand that real change requires a moment to moment and also reprogramming or rewiring of everything that you may be in this moment, or a big components of who you are in this moment. Once you understand that, you can look at someone else and understand that who they are is a compilation of their experiences. Them not changing for you necessarily is not anything personal. It just is. You know, we are all on a different journey, and we all change at different times. The work is not easy, guys. So think about that next time when you think that somebody should just change for you because it's easy for you. Maybe hard for them. Have some compassion for yourself. Have some compassion for others. Hope you guys have an amazing week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take flight.